there's too many things. It's always a thing.
There's always something that gets missed. You know, it's not a big
Yeah.
deal, but there's always something.
Mm-hmm. It's like I always make fun of it. Like at work, in the emergency management business, there are a lot of checklists. There's lots of lists that you have to do to check everything, make sure everything's operational and everything. I kind of feel like you need one of those for the podcast.
That's a good idea.
Podcasting standard operating procedures. Check this, change the tweet,
Seriously.
make sure the audio's going, run the backup, get the recording.
Well, it's funny. We started doing these live streams with doctors, and we invite people who donate to the cause and everything to come on in and see these presentations that these doctors are doing. And it's basically a live podcast. You're just like, okay, you're on deck, and then you go, and then you speak. And, you know, when you go live, it feels a lot like a podcast. And because we're not in because nobody's a podcaster, that's exactly what we have to do. We have to create these lists.
At her law office, they run these like elaborate Zoom calls and stuff. And I've helped her out a lot. I bought her mics, and it's so funny. She's the music major, and I've showed her how to use Audacity. But it's funny because she understands so much about the tool that I don't understand at all. Like I don't, like all the treble and the EQ and stuff. Like she knows what all of that means. You know, she'll hear it and she'll be like, "Oh, you're too high here, and you need to run this filter." I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Means. But like the editing, she can't do it all.
Oh, really?
So together we make one strong Audacity editor.
Seems like one would lead into the next.
You would think. Apparently it was a part of her college. Apparently when you're a music major, you take a course on Audacity, which I found striking. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. That sounds like fun time. That's what you were doing in college?
Yeah, right? Do you have like fond memories of college? Like, did you have fun?
Not really. No.
Was it just like more school? Is like high school extended?
Well, no, and that's why.
And harder?
It's very different for me. I didn't go to college until I was 24, 25. I went later, right? Like the long short end of it is my wife and I got pregnant. She went to college.
That whole thing.
I went to work. And then after she graduated, I went to college. I got to the point at my work where my boss was like, you know, you're really good at what you do.
Yeah.
But I can only promote you so far without a degree. Yeah. He was like, you got to get a degree.
That's crazy to me. I feel like that's like such an ancient conversation. Like even as somebody with a degree, I feel like people are more and more saying like degrees don't really matter. But I don't know if that's actually the case.
In
Obviously not for you.
Yeah, in government they do. It's not about, and I've had this conversation I actually think with Kevin. It's not about an aptitude, which is why I think the point you're making is that it's no way a showing of a person's ability or aptitude. It's just a benchmark. It's a way of weeding out,
of course,
you know, qualifying. You know, it's so easy to be like it's unnecessary, but imagine like trying to hire without any standard requirement. That would be it's already a mess. Yeah, like it shows a level, I think, of work ethic too that I think is often like kind of dismissed.
Oh, you know? Personally, I'm not trying to throw it out. I just feel like I hear the conversation.
I know you're not. Yeah,
I feel like it's kind of the same with marriage. Honestly, like I think that there is it's balanced because you're going to upset some people no matter what you do when you talk about this sort of thing. I think it is. I think you learn. It's not just the technical knowledge you get from like the paper on the wall. It's the grind. It shapes you to become, I feel, like a different person. I think there's a grind that happens when you get married versus just ending up together for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, because I think putting on a wedding is hard. Like I think it's hard as shit. I think you find out a lot about the people around you and in your life. And for Chelsea and I, like that really, like as if we weren't already really close, it brought us close together. Like it was like we're a team, and we like nobody else has got our backs except for us through this.
Yeah.
So it's through the process.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the music now?
Yeah, we can do the music.
Let's do the music now. Let's jump into it.
Hey, Sean.
Donnie, how many days is too many days without a shower?
Ooh, this is a great question because I have this debate weekly with my son.
Oh yeah, okay, this makes sense.
He'll go a week without showering. It's like, what are
No
you, a
way.
farm animal?
Oh no.
I shower
A
every
week.
day,
Yeah.
but I'm a water person. Like
Hmm.
I'm all about it. Like anytime I can get in the tub or shower, like I'm all for it. There have been times I'll take 2 showers a day if
Yeah.
given the opportunity.
I
So
actually, I just came out of the shower. It's been,
I was gonna
I
say
think
you look rather spiffy today.
I'm
Like your
shiny, right?
hair's done,
I
everything
got the
is nice.
shine.
You look great.
Oh wow, thank you. I feel
Yeah.
terrible, but I
Do
appreciate it.
you?
Yeah, I don't feel my best. I've been avoiding a lot of t-shirts to be honest with you, and I'm kind of actually like hunking down. If I get like shoulders up, I'm great. But
Sean,
there's a lot
look
more
at you.
me below
Look
here.
at
I don't,
you versus me. Like even by comparison, Sean,
dude.
you
It's
look
just
amazing.
I'm telling you, I'm keeping the like it's like reverse
Okay.
cleave, like the
That's
bottom of the boob is
that's
what I'm
rather
trying to
unnecessary.
avoid.
All of this is rather unnecessary.
I thought you were gonna call me out on my I'm self-aware of the fact that I don't play Apex religiously, but I'm wearing an
Who
Apex
cares?
shirt, so am I a fake fan or something?
Yeah, you're a
But
poser.
really the fake part is that it's actually a mixer shirt.
There
It's
you
like,
go.
yeah,
So that's the real
going into
fan
the
part
hype
of it.
zone.
You're like,
Yeah.
it's not my fault. Mixer put Apex on the front of this damn thing.
The best, yeah. I mean, I got it when I was at E3 and we were playing Apex, and it was like one of the first times that I played it. I played
Is
it when
it
it
a
first
nice?
came out.
Is it a nice shirt?
It's fine. Yeah,
I have a
it's
Twitch shirt that my
comfy.
wife has basically commandeered because she says that it's the best shirt she's ever like worn. She's like, this is the
That
best feeling
happens.
shirt ever.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels nice, but the whatever the graphic tee part of it, like it'll come off. Like it's that kind of like plasticky. It's
okay.
kind of got like a sticky kind of thing to it.
Your standard gaming T-shirt.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. It was the greatest because like didn't know what I was doing when I was playing Apex at E3. They had like a big mixer booth and everything. We're like, well, let's just go play some games. And I ended up in like the final, whatever it was, final 5 or something like that. And they put you up on the big screen. They call it the hype zone. Like they put like somebody comes up with a camera in your face.
Sad that they didn't do that with Hyper Escape.
It's sad that they didn't do it with somebody who knew what the hell they were
Hyperscape
doing. Well, this was a mixer thing. This was
Yeah,
a
I know.
mixer thing.
And I realized it was like before Hyperscape.
Rest in peace.
I'm just riffing.
The hype thing. Yeah.
For both.
I mean, they
Rest
called
in
it
peace
hype
for Hyperscape and
and
Mixer.
Man, life is in the video game landscape is changing before our eyes, man. Like it feels sometimes like we're doing the same things as we always do, and then you just look back and you're like, remember when Apex wasn't a thing? Remember when Mixer was a thing?
Yeah, and we still don't have a solution on Xbox.
It's pretty
The
terrible.
Xbox solution to stream is awful. It's pretty bad. And
Yeah.
not pretty bad. Nope. I'm not going to say that. Nope, it's terrible. It is the bare minimum
Yeah.
of what could be done.
It's like what Nintendo does, and then a step above that, just
Yeah.
one notch above what
it's
Nintendo's
a step
got.
above what Nintendo would do.
Which is almost better than for Nintendo. Like, just if you're gonna do it like that, just don't do it at all.
It's pretty awful.
Just don't really even make it.
It's one of the things they've really missed out on so far.
Is your son still giving it with the streaming? Is he kind of bouncing in and out of it? Is he figuring out
asked
what he
me
wants to
yesterday to stream, and I had a conference call. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But no, he's really tapered off lately.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why. I don't press him on it. I don't
Yeah,
really.
I
I don't
wouldn't.
really. I don't really care.
Yeah.
You know, I tell him all the time. If you want to do it, I'll set it up and let you do it. If you don't, you know.
It's a time in life where you just should try a bunch of things.
I think more than anything, Jack is struggling with quarantine. Jack just wants friends. Jack is in need of a friend or two that are really into the things that Jack is into. Like he's got a couple friends that live across the street, but they're just very different type of kids.
Yeah.
And they don't gel very well. And he doesn't have like me. He doesn't have friends like you on the internet that he can be with. So I think more or less the streaming part of it was him feeling lonely, and he just wanted to try and find folks. He just wants to find folks. You know, like it's not that deep. I'm basically psychoanalyzing my own kid. But yeah, like just kind of scrubbing beneath the surface. I think that's what it's about. He wants to play games with friends. He wants to be with friends.
I feel like at least as I have gotten older, I can be more comfortable like just by myself. Like you kind of like have that alone time to recharge and stuff. That comes later. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like
you
when you're a
that.
kid, like we're seeing it with Lincoln now too, and it's been a year into quarantine and everything, and he's just gotten used to being with us and being with his sister. And then you really see like what he's missing when like we take him to the playground and there's another kid there, and he just lights up.
Yeah,
like he just like he's so happy, and he'll talk about, I was playing with Cameron or whoever it was, like all these, and it's like, that's what it's so sad. Like I don't know, kind of starting on a bummer here, but it's sad to see. Like
Well,
he
I
just
mean,
wants to
it's just
play.
that's what he wants and that's what he needs. But it's tough with Jack because he's not. He's just he's a little different. He's just a little
Yeah.
odd. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of dorky. He's into dorky things.
Yep.
Like the other day, he made an entire diorama of his Star Wars Legos,
Yeah.
and then he took like a picture so it looked like in real life. You know, like you've
That's
seen
sweet.
like the Etsy
Mm-hmm.
folks and stuff. You know, like that's the stuff he's into.
Love
You
that.
know, it's not like they're like wrestling or playing football, and he's not
Yeah.
into like trash talk. He's not very machismo at all. You know,
Yeah.
for a boy his
Because he's a
age.
sweet kid. He's a good
He's
boy.
a very sweet kid, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
so I think he just needs that kid, and like the kids at his church aren't really like that either. He needs to
Yeah.
go back to school. Ultimately, like
Yeah.
Jack more than Victoria. Jack needs school bad. Like Jack
Yeah.
needs to go back to school quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's every now and then I kind of just do this little look back and go, this has been over a year. This
Yeah.
is now becoming it's like
been
this
a-
isn't just like a season. This wasn't just like a moment in time. Like this is going on for a bit. So yeah, hashtag Jack back to school. Just
Yeah,
send
well,
them.
definitely, and we're sending him back. He's going back this fall. They're both going back this fall.
Yeah.
We're hoping that they'll both.
Dude,
get
I guess it's the end of the
vaccines
school
before,
season.
But yeah, no, they're out this week. Is their final week, I think.
Wow.
My kids.
Do you have like good memories of like last day of school or anything like that?
I always
or like
skipped.
yeah, man.
I never went to school on the
Yeah.
last day of school. Why would you?
Mhm.
What a giant waste of time.
The best and like this there's like this enlightening period as you grow up through, you know, becoming a kid into whatever we are now, where you start to do the math on things and you go like what matters and what doesn't matter. I think
Yeah.
in college or even at the end of high school, it's like this exam is worth 40%, and if I get a 60% on it, then I still pass. Like you do kind of like that math,
Mhm.
or like I don't even have to do my assignments because they're worth
Mhm.
10%. And if I get 0, then I just got to get like this on everything else. Like I always played those games, like every angle. If I could just like figure out, this probably isn't surprising, but if I could figure out where to spend better time than other time, and it didn't matter if I handed in assignments, you better believe. Like there was a class I had. It was in college. You actually got a percentage of your grade was based on your attendance, and it was like whatever 5% or whatever. I'm like, well, I'm just not going to go.
Yeah.
Like it's not worth it. Like I'll
Yeah.
just study. I got the book and I did well on the test, and that was it. Like that's terrible. You know, like speaking of
I mean, I did that all the
school
time.
carving out into who
And
you're
I think
gonna be.
most people I talk to, I think they all. I've
I
had a
think
lot
so,
of people
too.
tell me that. When the kids I
Yeah.
went to school didn't do that. There
Yeah,
was a lot of kids that went to school.
but it always starts with one, and I bet it was you. Because I didn't learn that on my own.
Oh, I was
It
definitely that kid.
Yeah,
I
you were the
walked
one who
in-
figured it out first.
I'd walk into classes late in ninth grade. I'd walk in
Mhm.
like an hour into it, usually with breakfast. I mean, I was real kind of an ass about it.
Did you bring other kids with you? Like that's like,
Yeah, I
like,
would.
yeah,
I would take them with me. I would
Mhm.
leave school early. My junior year, because my senior year, it's a little weird. I went in middle school in ninth grade. I did a school that was on like a block schedule.
Yeah.
So like by the time
Yep.
I got to mid high school, I was already finished with several cores. So
Yeah.
like my junior and senior years are weird because I only had to take like 3 courses a day.
Same. Yeah.
Okay, so I would only go for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And
I had the
then
mornings.
half the time.
last
Half
year.
the time, I wouldn't even do that. Like half the time, I wouldn't even go
Mhm.
to those. And I used to just tell my teachers to send my assignments with my wife, my girlfriend at the time, and she was just bring them to me. She'd just bring them to my house. And I'd
Come
send them
on.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the teachers hated that. They hated me.
I'd love to chat with your wife a little bit about you back in the day. Like
Oh.
what was
I look
'Cause-
back on it now, and it's just such an ass.
but there's something about her that you clicked with her, right? Like,
Mhm.
so say what you want and you'll be self-deprecating, I'm sure, but like there's something about you, and that's what I'm really interested in. Like, what was it about Donnie who wasn't, you know, he wasn't perfect attendance. He had the chip on his shoulder. Maybe that was it. But like, what was it about, what was going on with her that was the thing that clicked with her?
As Dev has always put it, I'm like the spice to her life, and she like grounds me. She's very,
Mm.
very just, I don't want to say prudish, but that's almost too harsh. She's just
Yeah.
very sweet and exactly like
It's the opposites attract.
all-American girl next door, like exactly
Yeah.
what you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, she's just very well-mannered. She couldn't
Mhm.
be she couldn't be angry to anybody like in real
Oh,
life.
really?
She can't do confrontation at all. She's just
Yeah.
exactly, you know, like almost like a movie or a TV show
Mhm.
example of a person, and I'm just the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
I love
think
it,
that's
man.
how we clicked up.
Well, maybe that's why you got yourself a nice little treat. You treated yourself this week, I saw.
I got a new car.
You got what you want, man. You get it.
I give a lot of credit to Dev. I looked at I test drove like 5 cars, and
Did you?
I looked at a lot, and
Yeah.
I almost bought this Chevy Sonic, which my wife called the chicken nugget. That's what she named the car because it looked like a chicken nugget.
What's the deal with that one? I don't even know anything about it.
It's just little subcompact, like, you know. But the thing about it was a great deal. It was like $7,000 less. It was a 2019. It was like brand new. It was 2020. It was brand new. Has incredible safety ratings. It's 40 miles to the gallon. It was just like a great buy, the practical purchase. But that's not what I wanted.
Right. It's telling you all the things that you wanted. Like, even this way that you listen, it's like, this doesn't sound like something Donnie would.
It wasn't what I wanted at all. It was more like we could buy this and then give it to our daughter later. The whole reason I was even looking at buying a car is we've paid off our van, and I still have my old Camry, and I have a work truck. Yeah. And we're preparing for Victoria to start driving soon. She'll start driving just 2 years away.
That's crazy.
I told Melissa, I was like, so we can buy a car now while we can afford it, or we can wait to buy one then, but we're gonna have to buy one anyway. So like, in my opinion, let's buy it now, and hopefully we'll have paid off by then. Yeah. And she was like, yeah, I agree. So what do you want to get? And I was like, for once in my life, I'd really love to buy a car that I really love, like something that I really want to have. Yeah. And for me, that was always been muscle cars.
Muscle car. Yes, dude.
I love muscle cars. So I test drove 2 Mustangs. Yeah. I test drove a Camaro and a Charger, but the one that I really wanted was a Challenger.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's what I bought. That's what I brought home.
I would struggle with, like, there's history with the Camaro. I also feel like maybe it's a very Italian thing, like especially muscle cars just in general. You take your pick. You got like Italian heritage greasers driving around in Camaros and stuff. My uncle had a we would call it a Z28 like this, just 1967. I think he paid like $3,000 for it, like just this classic car. Still has it. He passed it down to his son. My cousin drives it now. So I've always had this love for Camaros and then Mustangs as well. And of course, like Gone in 60 Seconds. Like there's a lot of reasons why I like the Shelby Mustang.
That movie made that car iconic. As if it wasn't already, it deserved to be in the beginning.
Well, and they kind of refresh it for kids like me. Like I probably never even really heard of it. Like unless your dad was a car guy or something. Like I don't know how many.
Motorhead.
Yeah.
Those GT350s though, like the Eleanor. It's like $150,000.
Seriously. Yeah. Well, that's why they're after it. Why Challenger though? Like of all the things, like I could have gone Mustang or Camaro in that pick, but you went Challenger.
So the Mustang, I had a beautiful Mustang picked up, but my issue with the Mustang is I almost feel like they're a little too common and a little too nice, a little too sweet for my liking. No offense. I'm going to say something that's going to sound very offensive. A Mustang is a girl's muscle car.
Oh, snap.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, and I mean that in the best of ways, right? Like if you have a Mustang, that's great, but like a lot of girls like Mustangs. It's not even a girl thing. It's a really pretty car. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very pretty to look at. Yeah. It has a very pretty aesthetic. So my wife really wanted a Mustang. She wanted me to get the Mustang so bad. Yeah. And I was just like, it's not me. It's not what I want. So when I lived with my aunt and uncle, and I talk about my uncle a bunch in our podcast. He's really influential on me. When we were working, and he does plumbing. So when I was digging ditches with him and stuff, when I was a kid, I always told him how much I loved old 80s American muscle cars.
80s, interesting.
Even like the late 70s ones, but like the Chevelles. Like if you've ever seen any like gearheads, like with the with the head, like the engine popping out of like even like an old Bel Air or like a Chevy like drop top, the Torinos, the Challenger.
A buddy of mine, his dad was a big gearhead. My buddy, his dad had a Miata that he totally transformed, ripped out the engine. He put a 5-liter Mustang engine in it, and then he took a hood scoop off of a Firebird or a Thunderbird or something. Barely. That's the thing. He ripped off the hood. He had to put a hood scoop from I think it was a Firebird or a T-Bird or something like that. So he had like this Miata with like this giant like bubble on top of it. And there was this big thing in the city here. They had these monster Miata clubs. There were these guys who would take these Miatas and transform them so they would have like a weight to power ratio of like F1 cars, right? Because they're so tiny. They're
Yeah.
just like nothing little cars, and they would drop these huge engines in them. He would fire that thing up, it would shake the china on the walls.
Nice.
Like stuff would just like fall off. He drove it to his grad. Just a classic thing, man. So I love that you got this. I love that you got it, man.
Yeah, I'm very, I always love, like, you know, like the Barracudas and the Novas, just that big.
There's a lot. Car. Yeah.
So, so I wanted a Challenger, and long end of it is they're really expensive. And I say really expensive, like, in my way, because I'm cheap, and I didn't want to buy something that was really expensive. I had a limit, and I couldn't find anything that fit in this limit at all.
Right.
The Challengers around me are 22, 23. I think the cheapest one I found might have been like 21.5. And then you're talking about something that's like 80,000 miles on it and everything. And I was going to buy the Mustang. I was on my way, and then I had alerts, like, just like I set up for video games. Every time I shop anything, I set up all these kind of alerts, and I got an alert that there was a trade-in at a nearby dealer, and it was an older one. It was a 2012 Challenger. They wanted 15.9 for it, and it had 30,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap. And I immediately drove there. They hadn't even taken it in yet. It had a sticker on it that said, do not sell. It was just out in the lot. They hadn't even detailed it. It had mud in the seats and everything. And I was like, I want it. Like, what are you talking about? I was like, no, I want it right now. Like, let's lock this up. This is the car that I want. So my wife thought I was going to get a Mustang, and I came home in a Challenger.
Was she? I mean, she wanted the Mustang. Was she?
She really likes the Challenger. I drove her around last night for Mother's Day, and she was really surprised. She was like, I didn't realize it was gonna be so smooth. I've been trying to tell her. I was like, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's like driving a bedroom. Like, it's a big ass car, man. Like, it's so damn big, and I love it.
It's like driving a bedroom. I mean,
it's just like you're king of the road on that damn thing, and you know, it's not. I'm not like racing, and I don't have the Hellcat model or anything like that. And like, dude, a Mustang would smoke the Challenger. You know, like,
sure,
it's twice as big. It's twice as heavy.
Yeah.
I don't care about that at all. It's just all about the look, man. I love the look. Those deep set headlights, the big ass hood, the racing stripes on top, that Batman, you know, like window, you know, like looks like the Batmobile. I just, I
totally,
love it. I love it so much. I've never,
you got what you wanted.
I've never. Like, that's the thing. I've never really done that. Like, on a level like this. I've never bought, like, I've always been very practical. I bought a very cheap house that I could afford very easily. I never bought, like, my dream home. I bought a lot of cheap cars that I could afford very easily that would last a long time, that had great gas mileage. I've never, like, splurged kind of, like, in this, I dare I say, irresponsible way. Now, like, I can totally afford it. I cashed out money at work. I paid half of it off. Like, it's very nice. But still, I feel almost a little irresponsible.
Well, especially in the face
15 miles to the gallon, you know.
Yeah, it's that. Who cares, man?
The kids can barely fit in the back. It's like, you know, Jack was like, I'm not gonna be able to ride around in this. I was like, that's kind of the plan. That's kind of the deal, kid.
This is the changing family dynamic here.
You stay home. Dad leaves. Dad goes out. Me and Mom going out. You stay home with your sister.
I love it, man. Holy cow. Well, I mean, it's all part of the whole, like, you know, dads get to, like, pull this move every once in a while. Like, okay, family's changing. Maybe daughter needs a car or something like that. Like, okay, I guess that means that maybe I might be able to sneak in something that I want in
Look
here.
at Jace. Hot tub check. Sauna check. Dream car check. Yeah,
Productive 2021.
I'm living the good life, man. I will admit it. You know, sometimes you don't realize it when it's happening, but I know this year has sucked, so I don't want to say it's been a great year. But, like, for me personally, I've had some enjoyment out of this year for sure.
I mean, this is on brand for Donnie. This is like, you do this in all different ways. And it's amazing just how consistent you are with it, which is, you want to do something, you just go do it. Like, you don't sit and wallow and go like, I wish I could just do this. I wish I could do this.
No,
not even that, not even, or make excuses. Like, you just find a way to make it happen.
Once I decided we were getting another car, I just locked in. I've been doing it for nothing but for like the last 2 weeks.
That's what I mean.
Checking out different things, getting exactly down to what I want. And then when I found what I wanted, like I said, dude, when I went to it, had mud in the seats.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I know.
Probably could have talked them down a little bit on
I did.
price.
Oh, I got a sweet deal off.
Yeah.
They gave me, I got $1,500 off the sticker, and then they tried to sell me on the warranty, and I got half of that too.
I'm not gonna lie, like, I feel like what you're experiencing with the actual physical car that you got is a bit of escapism that I get with the Forza games. Like, I would love to do what you did. I would love to do that. I'd love to just go buy a silly car. I think you got this is a funny.
I mean, you could go rent one. Like, you
that's
can
true.
do that.
That's true. Well, and this is the thing. I don't know necessarily. I kind of would do exactly what you did. I don't think I want a brand new car. Like I don't think I need to go out and
I don't
buy
think
like
I'll ever buy a brand new car. I just don't think it's worth it. Like a brand new
we just
car.
lease. We just lease.
Yeah,
So
you're
we
gonna
don't
pay
actually.
twice what it's worth. Like you're just gonna pay so much more.
Dude,
than
I
it's
haven't bought
worth.
tires in 15 years.
Nice.
Like I haven't replaced brakes in
That's what
15
my
years.
father-in-law does. You know, I will tell you, I felt really, really good. You know what made me feel happy? My boss. My boss is kind of like a father figure for me because we've worked together for like the last 11 years, you know? So he's gotten to know me really, really well. And he knows how I am and he knows how I am with my money and everything. And, you know, I cashed out some vacation time and everything at work to help fund this project. So he called me and he's like, "So what'd you get?" And I was like, I'm kind of scared to even tell you. Like you're gonna yell at me." And I sent him a picture of it and he loved it. He was like, "Donnie," he's like, "you deserve this." He's like, "You've done so much for so long." He's like, "I'm sure you got a great." And once I told him about the price and everything, he was like, "Dude,
No brainer.
Like, this is perfect." He's like, "This is perfect for you." He's like, "Good job." He's like, "Enjoy it. Go out with your family, have fun." You know, like go. And it was blessed, and that's all I've been doing. You see, my hair is like kind of free. I've been driving all day, Sean. I literally drove home to do this with you.
Yeah, and then we'll go for a drive. So you're just going for drives. I haven't done that in 20 years.
Dude, I haven't played video games like all week, and it's weird, and because of what we do. But like I'm not in them right now because it's new car smell. Like I'm in that. You know, I don't even want to. Like it's not even on my mind. You know, like Resident Evil came out. I'm like, one day,
no problem,
another day.
Yeah. That's good though, man. That's good. I like you don't have to play games. You know, and I feel like you've been wearing that for a little bit. Like you kind of been like, because you acknowledge that we're in this space that not really anything is coming out, and you were itching, like you're looking to like buy things. You're going on the eShop on Nintendo Shack and just like tell me what to buy. Yeah. So to be able to like literally escape that, I think I just turned it off. I think that's sweet. You know, I don't know if it's the same for you, but like, you know, buying a car is such a big deal. Like I'm not trying to downplay that. But in my family and growing up, it was like the biggest deal. Like you don't mess that decision up at all. Like you make sure that you go out and you get the best one and the best deal, blah, 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 blah. It was like this, it was really amped up. But the friend of mine his dad who had the Miata and everything, he would just buy cars. He would just flip them.
I don't want to interrupt you, but Chase, he says he's ready for this to be over so he can go back out. He has a countdown clock. I can see it on his face. I can see his face. X amount of minutes until he can go back out.
I mean, don't let me keep you, man.
Sean, can we do the drive? Like, can we do the Xbox?
Oh, that's a really good idea. We've never done it from a muscle car before.
And I don't interrupt you, but I will say, because Jace jogged my memory. Dude, I bought everything. I've got window scoops, I got hood scoops, I got hood pins.
Tell me you got dice in the mirror.
I got a no dice. I got a cover. Dude, I bought every car product you can get. The wheels are done, the leather's done. Like I'm going absolutely bananas.
Yeah, I saw you take a picture on you had like a product shot. It's like somebody sent you something, but you bought it all.
That's the trim. So I did I tinted the trim on the brake lights and the side marker lights. You gotta black it out, Sean. And it's got like this big chrome gas cap cover. I bought a black one of those. Like we're swapping that out.
Oh
my wife hates it because she likes the flash, the chrome. And I'm like, because it came with chrome wheels. And to be honest with you, if it were me, I'd put black wheels on it. So I'm even looking to change those out too.
Oh my gosh, that's where it's getting expensive. This is the whole like Forza thing that I like to do. Like I don't have the money to just buy whatever I would buy. The car I would get would be like an early 90s. Would be your car? Well, and I'm dancing around the pronunciation because you guys say it one way and we say it, I can't remember which way is which, but a Toyota, I think you would say Celica.
Celica, yeah.
Yeah, we would say Celica. We say...
Really?
Yeah, and you say decals.
Oh, that is so forward.
I know, and you say
awful.
You say decals,
Celica?
and we say decals. Yeah,
Ew.
we say Celica. Yeah.
You've ruined the Celica for me. I like that car.
I love that car so much. Well, I mean, it's kind of like a poor man's Supra.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, I take a Supra as well. But
why not just do the Supra then?
I don't know. It'd
be different.
I do Super as well. I guess I just don't. It's this. My brain doesn't work.
So you got that Fast and Furious brain.
I guess so. I think I liked it before that though. Okay. Yeah, I had a Jetta and just.
You liked
really
it back then, before it. Like in the 90s, you liked it.
A friend of mine had like his first car was like
there it is.
He had a good one. Yeah, it wasn't
That's
like
a hell of a first car.
It was old, but it was old.
Dude,
like
I was always so jealous of those damn kids. Like my first car was a 1985 Mazda B2000 pickup truck I bought for $900.
Yeah, dude.
That leaked a quart of oil like every time I drove it.
Yeah.
I literally drove it with a big cardboard box in the back of the that I would lay under it so it wouldn't leak in the parking lot. And I always hated the kids that drive to school, their new Mustang and their new Jeep. I'm like, look at these damn kids. Who's setting their kids loose in these very expensive
in our neighborhood? It's just
automobiles?
unbelievable, man. And the range of expensive kind of goes around.
And I feel bad for my daughter because she's in that now, and she's like, you got to buy me a car. I'm like, I'm not buying you a car.
Seriously.
It's like, are you crazy? You buy your own car. That'll make you take care of it. So when you do get to the point where you drive home the car of your dreams like I just did, you'll take so much better care of it for it. But yeah,
and you need to drive a car that's falling apart, so you learn what the parts are. you need to know what it is. Like I never know.
Lucky for her, I told her, I was like, look, the plan is if you take care of it and everything, we will let you drive the camera. I'm not even giving her the camera. She's like, I can't have it. I'm like, no
way. There's no way.
You gotta buy your own car. But apparently,
I wasn't given a car.
Everybody else, she says, everybody else, their parents buy them cars.
Yep. Wow. Yeah, that's the thing. There's no chance. There's no chance they're not getting a car, and they're not getting, like, I'm not paying for their school. Chelsea and I came to the middle on this, because I paid for my school, saved up for it as a kid and everything. And Chelsea's parents paid for theirs. So
Melissa's parents helped her with hers.
I get the whole, like, we don't want our kids to be in debt for decades for that. So we come to the middle, like, whatever Lincoln saves, we'll match it. Whatever Ellie saves,
choosing your college then.
I mean, and saving as a kid, like we're the parents, like we know what that journey is going to be like. So where we landed is we will have Lincoln saving for college, and we'll be putting money aside for him as well. We'll match whatever he saves. So if he comes to the table with 20,000, then we'll have to have 20,000 to match him to put towards.
Yeah, we got those.
So not all on his own.
We got those interest earning accounts that we just put a little money into. It's not going to be much, but it's something's better than nothing.
And it's a long time. So yeah, we're the same. Like they're not getting car handouts. Like they get Pokemon cards from us.
That blew my mind when. Yeah. You know what? Like Melissa's dad bought her a car. Like he bought her a car for her birthday.
Yeah.
When she was 16.
Jay says 20,000 Canadian. I've got 20 years to save for this. It's not
what is that? Like, what is that in Dogecoin? That away.
Don't bring it up to Jace. Don't bring up Dogecoin, man. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's, like I said, that's the reason I like to play Forza. Like I'm not going to be doing that for a little while. And it also, like, there's I don't know. Is it a little cliche to just, like, want to go get, like, do you feel that at all? Is it a little, like, you're getting to an age, you're getting to a point in your life, you're like, now I got to get my sports
the midlife crisis car?
Yeah.
Melissa made a mention of that when I was looking into it, and that was never a part of it.
Because it doesn't look like that. I know.
And I don't think it ever will be, right? Like, it'll never be. But, I mean, I guess the timing fits. It's just, for me, this is the first time that I've been in a place financially or like in a home life where this was even possible for me.
It's so good, man.
So like when I bought, so in 2000, okay, Sean, in 2005 I was a junior in high school, and I bought a Kia Rio for $8,000 at a used car dealership, and I paid it off.
That's a big deal.
I bought in 2011 I bought a 2004 Toyota Camry with 40,000 miles on it for $12,000, and I paid it off.
That's a good car.
I've had that car. Still have that car. That's the Camry.
I've been in that car.
Daughter. I have that car. Yeah, that's the car you were in. I've had that car the entire time I've been working at the job that I'm in. Now my work provides me a work car, so it doesn't get used a whole lot.
Oh, wow.
Basically, right. Melissa totaled her car, so a couple years ago I bought what's it called? It's the van, but it's like the Grand Caravan or whatever.
Okay,
the
like
Chrysler
a Dodge or
Town and Country. That thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so all the seats and everything fold down. So I bought the Town and Country because Melissa had an accident in the car that her parents had bought her. She told me. So we bought that, and she's been driving the Camry. So this is to the point now where, like, I felt like for the first time, because, like, the Rio was $8,000. Dude, it was like I bought what I could afford, like the cheapest thing on the lot. The Camry was a family car. Like I had a family, like I couldn't, and it was also what I could afford. Like I said, it was used. I paid $12,000, I think, for it.
Yeah.
This was the first time I could buy my car. Like I want to go buy something that I really love and want. I don't know if we have no plans on what to talk about on the show, so I don't know if you want to go here, but I do think it's at least worth talking about. I mean, because I think our listenership's probably more adult like us with kids and stuff. I was talking to Sean, I was talking to Dev privately, because sometimes I feel like this might come off. I just don't want people to feel bad. Like I don't want, I don't want to. But I was really proud. You know a little bit more about me than maybe our listeners do. Like, my backstory and kind of where I come from, my family and stuff like that. And if they want to, they can listen to PSVG DLC and get some of that.
Yeah, they should.
I had a credit score of 815 when I bought this.
Is that good? That's good, right? That's really good.
Yeah, that's really, really good. They ran my credit report at the dealer and they handed it to me. And I have like 14 years of never missed a single credit payment, to like build that. And I was just like really proud.
You should be.
Man. I was just sitting there and I was just like, man, where I come from, like the family that I had, one, they never had credit, couldn't get credit. They didn't teach me about anything about financial responsibility. They didn't have shit, they didn't have anything either.
That's crazy.
And it's just like, I'm sitting there and it's like a lot of influence from my uncle, Melissa's father. Melissa's father is very successful. He's really kind of taught me as I've gone along. And it's weird because I don't necessarily think, I don't know. Maybe the families that buy their kids cars, maybe they do it differently. But like, I don't know of kids that were like taught how to be financially responsible.
This is one of my biggest hang-ups in school. Why isn't that in school though? Like why, like some of the most important things of like functioning as an adult, like these are things that aren't in, this is not in school. Like they kind of skirt around it. They kind of mention it. And I don't know if it's maybe too much of a personal type of thing in order for that to become part of like the curriculum.
We should be teaching kids how to build credit,
right?
How to be responsible, how to budget correctly, how to, and it's not like, and I know it is personal. Like if you want to go out there and, have a $700 car payment, like, like that's your ability to do so, but it's like just the awareness of what that will mean to other things in your budget. Yeah. Like how that will impact your other budget. Cause we've talked about this a lot. I know it sounds like on our podcast, you see me buying games or like stupid Switches and stuff. And it sounds like I make a lot of money and I just throw it all away. I don't. Like I don't make a lot of money. I probably make, standard middle class family. I just really live very cheaply. I don't think a lot of people realize my house payment's $600.
Yeah.
Like I bought a really cheap house. Like
that helps.
My car payments have always, and I haven't had a car payment in 7 years, like I live very, I think, very meager. Like, could I buy a newer car that had $350 a month for a payment? Sure, I totally could. I just never would. Like, I don't have that in me to do so. So yeah, like it is interesting because I was telling my wife that I was like, we've got to work with our kids and make sure that they're aware of how to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I was just talking to Lincoln about it a second ago, and he just didn't want to hear it like at all. Like he just wanted to play Super Mario. I was just trying to tell him, like, Lincoln, you got to learn about your credit score, you got to learn about your savings, and he just wanted some limes and not limes. He wanted some kiwis and strawberries. That was it.
It's so funny because I told Dev, because Dev was telling me the same thing. He's like, yeah, nobody sat me down and taught me any of this, and nobody really did for me either. I've picked up bits and pieces as I've gone along, except for like one seminal moment when I got my credit card. You may have heard the story. I got a credit card when I was in high school so I could buy a Wii.
Yep.
I bought 2 of them and I sold one to pay off the credit card. My uncle signed me up for that credit card. He helped me get that credit card. And he sat me down and he...
Do you remember the credit limit? Like, was it $1,000 or something?
I think it was $1,000. It was $1,000. And he sat me down and he goes, all right, he's, I'm going to tell you this. He's like, and this is like a law. And he like put the fear of God in me on this topic. He's like, I'm going to shoot you straight. He said, I don't care if you have to sleep outside in a tent. I don't care if you have to eat ramen noodles for a month. I don't care if your girlfriend breaks up with you. I don't care what happens. I don't care if you have to mow your neighbor's lawn. I don't care what you have to do. You always, always, always pay the bank first.
Yeah.
They get paid before the lights. They get paid before the water. They get paid before you get groceries. They get paid before everything. He said, you never, ever don't pay the bank.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like since that day, that was my first payments are always that way. It's just like, let's take care of a credit payments.
I love that. And the way you tell the story, but like I probably happened in a normal setting, right? But I picture like the lights are going down and like some red beaming light, and like it gets more and more intense as
It's intense.
We
were just
setting changes.
sitting at the dinner table when he sat me down and he's like, let me tell you
that's
how
what
this
it takes,
works.
man.
And
that's what it takes. You need it. You need it black and white. For me, it was, realizing like it's the whole making things happen, right? Like there's something about setting your eyes on a target or setting your eyes on a goal and then making it happen. And for me, it was, I wanted to move out. I wanted to buy a house with a friend. And if I was going to come to the table with the same amount of money that he was going to come to the table, so we could come in as equals, put our down payment in and move into this place, I needed a plan. And it was like, that's basically where a lot of my like planning kind of comes out from, was like, I needed X dollars and I had whatever it was, like a year and a half to do it.
Sure.
So that means I had X number of paychecks to put the dollars away. And I built out my budget that way. It was, this is my savings plan. This is what I need for my cell phone. This is my car insurance and whatever else. And then that's kind of like,
that's good.
I got there on my own, which I guess is good.
That's really great, because I don't think many kids do.
But I don't know that I was necessarily a kid. Like I was definitely an adult. Like when I wanted to move out, I was definitely, this was when we bought our house. It was 2009, I think. So like I was 23, I think. Okay. I guess it's kind of a kid.
No, you're a kid.
Yeah.
23 is definitely a kid.
I guess I was graduating.
23-year-olds wouldn't agree with that statement, but 30-year-olds all unanimously, every 30-year-old's like, yeah, you're a damn kid.
Yeah, Jay says 23 is over the hill. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I would have. I felt late doing it though. I remember that. I guess that's kind of why I'm kind of reacting in this way. I remember when I was doing, like, why hadn't I done this before? Because I absolutely could have. And one of the, like, you had that moment where it's like, somebody tells you always pay the bank first. I had that moment of, you never are not working. Like you go from, if you're going to quit a job, you don't quit until you've got another job lined up. You don't just quit and like sit at home and do nothing. That's not Dev, if you're living at home, you were a kid.
That's spot on, Dev.
I was going back and forth, and I had moved out a couple of times actually, which I felt like maybe makes me even more of a kid, because I'd moved out twice before I actually bought the house. I moved out, lived with a couple friends, moved back home, moved back out, lived with another friend, moved back home until I finally went to go buy a place, and then that's when Chelsea and I met, and I was in that place for 2 years, and the other guy's still there actually. I love that house, man. It's like, speaking of, buying a place that you can just live super comfortable in, like it was nothing fancy. It was perfect. It was so inexpensive. It was so like we could do whatever we wanted because of that. So I loved it, man. Anyway, I'm glad you're doing good.
Talk too much about me. Let's talk about you.
No, I don't know. I wanted to talk about. I like talking about you. I don't do anything.
Yeah, but you don't. People need to talk about you too. They hog the show too much.
No, well, I'm interested. So there's that. You talked about. Let me see. A couple weeks ago, we were going to jump on the show. By the way, I was sick last week, so thank you for accommodating that. I was in bed all day last Sunday. That was not going to happen.
So to be honest with you, I was test driving stuff anyway. So when you were like, "Hey, I'm not feeling well," I was like, "Freeze up my afternoon, go test something out."
Yeah. It was.
I took a Cadillac out.
Oh, I saw a picture of that. I'm kind of glad you didn't go with the Cadillac.
I walked into a luxury automobile dealer in cargo shorts and Crocs. My wife was like, "Only you."
Yeah, good for you.
Everybody in here is in a suit. I was like, "The hell?"
Yeah, but what are you going to go to? Yeah, don't. I sold home theater setups at a like Canadian Best Buy. I've told the story a million times, but you learn a lot just like by prejudging people on what they come into a store looking like. So I'd love to mess around with people, like having a capacity to do something more than what you look like. Like I'll walk into a store buying a car, I'll look like this. I go sweatpants and a video game t-shirt.
She's like, you have no self-image. I'm never in that mindset of like, how do I look in this group of people? Like that never comes to me. I'm like, I look like me.
Doesn't it just seem like you're trying too hard if that's the case? So I just kind of avoid that altogether.
I get what she's saying. Like it's I think I looked odd. Like when she brought it up to me and I looked around, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that is a thing, huh? Yeah. But I look at her and it just tells you how much of an ass I am. I look at her and I'm like, no, I care about these people. I don't know these people.
Exactly. Yeah. I love it, man. Well, I watched a lot of Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Donnie. Like a lot. Like an embarrassing amount. Just about.
That's good.
I just about made it through all of them. And the funny thing is, the reason I bring it up is because I wanted to talk to you a little bit about like experiencing either games or movies outside of the hype bubble. Oh, yeah. One of the first ones that I really got into was Age of Ultron. And I remember like going to that movie, the second Avengers. That's what everybody would say. And I watched this. I don't know if it was just me being completely out of my mind and sick. I really enjoyed myself with this movie. Yeah, I really had a lot of fun with it. And
Yeah.
I think I liked a lot of these Marvel movies where I haven't been really watching any of the comic book movies at all over the last couple of, I mean, there hasn't really been anything since, of course, since Endgame. So I've had a nice little break.
That's the one with, is it James Spader?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, like, and very, like, I remember just being confused. Like, okay, so wait, they're doing this again? They're making another one of these things, and he's gonna have a stone in his head. Like, why is this gonna be better? I remember being very confused when it first came out. I get confused easily with movies, but I enjoyed it like way more now, and I don't know why that is, or like what really to take away from that. In that, you know, especially as people
it's the removal of expectation.
I guess so. Is that it? And you know, the way that we commentate on games and in some cases on movies as well, like it's within a locked period of time.
Sure.
And in some cases, especially if you're like doing a review, you have a couple of days to experience a game and then like cast your judgment. And that is the opinion that will be out there. And in a lot of cases will be shared by a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But I really kind of enjoyed this almost like a little exercise to go back in time and just watch them new again. Cause my memory, like I couldn't remember anything. I didn't know what was happening next. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened.
I do like that a lot. That's why I have that feeling all the time for my horror movies.
Yes.
You'd think that I watched so many of them that I couldn't forget them, but no, like you give me about 2 years of remove from something and rewatching, it's not like the first time because I have the general gist, but it's almost like you realize the things you didn't realize the first time because you're paying more attention to them outside of the highlights. And that's a really fun way to experience a movie.
Well, and I think for the Marvel movies, it was hard for me to go from one movie and then 4 months later watch another movie and then maybe a year later watch another movie and remember what the hell happened in the last movie and how they were all kind of like piecing it together. I remember seeing like everybody else having those great conversations of, it was this Infinity Stone and they're talking about this one, blah, blah, blah. Like, I didn't remember. And they're like a split second of a scene where they were hinting at it. And just kind of going back, like I had such a huge appreciation about it. And then Monday morning, they did the whole the trailer. Like this is what's happening next in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it's like, what are the chances of that? Yeah. So I feel like if I didn't have that weekend of being sick and just watching a whole bunch of movies, then I wouldn't have gone into that Marvel trailer as excited as I am now for what's coming next. Because I felt like I was kind of like done with Star Wars and comic book movies. I felt like I was like, that's enough. Like you don't. I know you guys said you're going to do more, but you don't have to. That was a lot.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, you did it. But now I'm kind of back on it again. And I just want to go back to the movie.
Well,
theater.
You've got the Disney Plus shows to tie you in. Like you've got.
That's true.
Yeah. It's not
I
like
still
there's
have my
not
arms
the
crossed
content
about that,
there.
though.
There's still lots of stuff there.
I still kind of that, and I still, so I'm like, how excited am I? Because I still look at that and go like, that's a lot of time.
I watched the first 3 episodes of WandaVision and loved it, Sean. Maybe 4.
Did you? Yeah.
And then stopped watching because it's like I don't have time. Like, this is a thing that I bring up often. I don't watch TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's got to be a really special TV show. Like I just don't get into that type of viewing experience, like that commitment to something for that long and watching it, over and over and over. I don't know. I just don't do it. It doesn't come naturally to me.
Do you you kind of been talking about this? I think you guys are mentioning a little bit about it on Empire this weekend. We talked about it on the show a little bit about, you want to, I don't know if it's you staying in your lane or you're not yucking someone's yum. Like you don't want to comment on something unless you're staying positive. I wanted to talk to you about this
I'm negative
a little bit more.
You didn't like my xCloud stuff.
I know, and that's the thing is like I feel like I want more of that from you, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like I want but some people are very sensitive, Donnie. And I want them to just like shut up.
I think that's why I am that way.
I don't want them to ruin you though.
I do think there are levels, right? I'll be negative and I'll dig in on something that I feel like if I feel like truly right or like very objective.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I feel like very objective on something, like it's broken or it's not working or it's not working very well.
Sure.
Are there caveats? That's the thing. A lot of the times you'll hear me dig in on something. Like if I feel like there's a caveat that's just not being said. Like on Empire this past week, we talked a lot about the FPS boost. The FPS boost is awesome. Like there are a lot of great games that are taking advantage of it.
Oh God,
there are a lot of highlight games that come with a serious trade-off with the FPS boost. And that really just kind of gets pushed under the table when people talk about it.
What do you
Like
mean?
Far Cry 5's FPS boost cuts the resolution in half.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It doesn't look
Yeah.
very good at all, and it's not the only game. There's a lot of games that do that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, is that really good then? Like, why is everybody, calling it a big
I wonder
deal or it's a system feature? It's like, well, I feel like
I didn't even realize it.
in
that
those
that's what
regards,
happened in that case.
In those situations, I feel like there's almost like there's a missing objectivity, or like people are being either misinformed or disingenuous. And that's when you'll hear me really dig in on something. I'm like, guys, we're missing. You're not saying this.
Yeah.
That's totally different than the new Star Wars game comes out and everybody loves it. And I'm like, I hate Star Wars. I want to rain on your parade. That's when I try to remove myself. That's when I'm like, let them have their, like, these people are excited about this thing that I really don't even care about. So why do you need to hear me give you my opinion on it?
I mean,
like, it would be so,
but it's a 360-degree conversation.
It'd be so terrible for me to review Returnal and tell you why I don't like it. Like, I can tell you I wouldn't like it now.
I don't know if that's I get what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, and especially the way that people respond when that sort of thing happens. You would be led to think that that's what we should do, is kind of steer away from those. But I do think that, like, I like that you have people know what's a Donnie game and what's not a Donnie game.
Yeah.
And I think it would be like, especially as for somebody like me who I like to just go try things. If I can go like think about what is Donnie like and not like, and then what was his experience with this game, if he's just confirmed that like he doesn't like it, then it's still a valuable like perspective.
Yeah, I understand that.
Me.
I understand that. It is a nice perspective to have. I mean, I get it. And sometimes I do feel that way. And sometimes it's hard to hold back.
I know.
Sometimes it's hard to hold back. And I really feel like I've made a conscious effort to try and do that a little bit more.
Yeah.
I can be loud and like take up a lot of the room. So sometimes I think it's better for like the PSVG team energy if sometimes I just let everyone else do it. Let everyone else have it. Like, I don't need to be on every podcast for every highlight release and talk about it. My opinion doesn't need to be so far reaching, that everybody knows where I stand on everything.
Sure.
I'm trying to pick and choose, I guess, a little better.
But you're on, I mean, that's the whole, I guess it's kind of like the high level topic that I kind of wanted to explore a little bit. It's just the nature of what we do is we put a microphone in front of ourselves and to some degree, because people listen and they
sometimes
they
you
support
go
us,
on
it's almost like they are
you're just in front of hundreds of thousands of people.
I try not to think about it, to be honest with you. You
did a good job. I normally don't listen to the show, but I listened to the show. You did a great job, Sean.
Mike is he did a great job hosting. It's funny because I watch his streams and he's very like he's very energetic. He just brings the hype and he's just kind of like nuts like that. And then very organized as a host. I was very like, he kept us on track and he was like, we ended on time. Like very, very, he was, he did great. And that was unreal, man. Today's been a lot of fun. Having a lot of people discover all of that stuff. But yeah, like it's part of the deal is we have microphones in front of us. We record our thoughts on this stuff. And it's like, I feel like it's so important to be authentic kind of no matter what. But then, I don't know. It does.
I strive for that.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. But you're also good about being wrong. I feel like one of the things that you and I would have agreed about this, if we podcasted together, we would have been singing from the same song sheet with Animal Crossing being not a triple A, like it, this crazy, it's not up there with Mario, I guess I'm trying to remember exactly like the words you would have used before Animal Crossing
came out. I called it a B tier game.
Sure. Yeah.
That's what I called it.
And I wouldn't have disagreed with you. And then Animal Crossing comes out and it's like, it's not a B tier game.
Not even close.
Clearly not.
S tier game.
Seriously.
35 million people disagree with me.
It's banging on the door of Mario Kart 8. And I think that's good of you. Because the topic kind of came up with the sales numbers on Shaq this week. And I was listening to how you guys dealt with that. And I thought you deal with that sort of stuff really, really nicely. And that's why I think it's important for us to be genuine about stuff, is because if you are proven wrong, or if things change, like perhaps like my opinion of Age of Ultron has changed, like that makes that actually more profound. Like that my mind has been changed by whatever the hell it is.
Sometimes you lock people into their opinions.
Yes, and that's why
we try to get them in this like gotcha moment.
Yes,
it's like got him.
Yeah, but like, what's that?
but you need that objectivity to let somebody be allowed to be like, it was wrong. or my opinions changed, my taste changed. It didn't even have to be a right
Taste
or wrong.
change.
It didn't even have to be a right or wrong thing. Just a different time with a different appreciation. That's totally fine. But I very much value my opinion being genuine.
Yeah.
And that's not just in games. I'm that way. I think people that know me, they know me that's exactly what they know me as. Like I wear my feelings on my sleeve. You're gonna know exactly how I feel. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
Same.
This is it. Like I'm very much this way, for good and for worse. And in the game space, I try to make sure that I always bring that. And when I'm wrong, I just tell people that I'm wrong and just own up to it. Like, hey, I was wrong, and that's okay. Or if my opinions change, at least tell you why. Yeah. Like this is what did it for me. This is the moment that I felt I started to feel differently. I started to be won over, or the opposite. This is when it got away from me, and I was like, this isn't as good as I thought it was.
I was chatting with Jose Jimenez, who goes by Ask What Not Why in the chat here, and we were kind of talking about this a little bit in that it's not so much like a reputation thing that I'm like worried about with this sort of stuff. It's more of like, it's deeper than that. Like I don't want people like questioning like intent, like in what is my core, because especially on the surface, it can look a certain way. Xbox sends me stuff, so it can look a certain. When I talk about Xbox, it can look a certain way. Or I'm talking about not Xbox, or I'm talking about PlayStation, who doesn't send me stuff. Like it can look a certain way. So those things, like that matters a lot to me. That I can be as crystal clear as I possibly can when talking about any of these things, which has me in that sort of like limbo when I think about, do I need to justify what my opinion is on a PlayStation topic or not, or people already made up their minds based on X, Y, or Z of like things that
I do think with you. I think one of the things that would differ us, and we've talked about this, I think, in at least danced around it, is I feel like a lot of times you go out to prove that your opinion is just as credible in other topics. I think that happens a lot, especially like with highlight moments. And I remember, I don't think necessarily so much when you were streaming, but when you were writing reviews, I felt like that was a bigger part of it. Oh, you were very much like, don't pencil me, don't put me in this bubble. Like I can be out of this bubble if I want to be. Yes. And that is an admirable, crusade to take on. And it can be tough to try that in social media. And I think that's when you start getting into some of the crap that can follow reviewers. And
I think it's impossible to tackle on social media.
Tough. It's really, really tough.
That's the sad conclusion that I've come to on it. Like, because I want that dynamic like interaction with each other, but I just don't think that it's possible. Jay says, I love that they're analyzing each other. This is what happens when you just have people like, how long have we known each other for 5-6 years? So
longer.
This is
longer.
Yeah.
Longer.
Yeah, that's true. It's longer than I started
We
the Gamercast. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Jeez, I love the chat, man. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, sometimes we'll get a little bit meta, and sometimes we'll rank all the Mario Kart tracks, every single one of them. Yep, every now and then it'll be a little bit different, but I don't know. I love doing the show with you, man. I'm really glad that we continue to do it. I like that. Reviewers getting stuck in a box never happens. Jeff Scrub hates Sony. He looked
bad for Jeff.
I feel bad for him too, man.
Yeah,
because that's where that comes from.
Tom Warren gets the same stuff.
That's where my fear comes from. It's actually not even like a personal thing. It's just I see what happens to other people who I believe are genuine in their opinions, who I don't believe are bought and sold and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, if they can't withstand this, if they can't prevent that mob mentality from completely changing or swinging on them, then that's the thing that kind of worries me a little bit. That's kind of sad.
I don't worry about it too much. But I also don't do reviews anymore. So it doesn't really matter. I just talk about it on my podcast. If you've got an issue with something that's on my podcast, then let me know. Like, you're totally fine to have it. You know what? So
it's going to be the internet. Yeah.
But an example was Decade of Horror.
Yeah.
We were doing Decade of Horror, and Justin wrote into the show, and he's like, I hate that you guys spoil all the movies. Can you guys stop? And I just said no.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just... I'm sorry, but like you could just not listen.
Yeah,
that's also
it's a different show.
That's
also,
a different show. An available route for you to take.
Yeah.
So with me, I don't worry about too much because I'm very kind of set in my ways in that regard.
Which I like. Like, and I don't know if it's a certain type of podcaster that I tend to be drawn to, but like I listened to I was going through a backlog of Colin Moriarty's show, the Knockback. He's going back, and one of the things that they did was, like, Knockback is a show where they like re-experience and then have a discussion, like a revised discussion on older properties, whether it's a game or movie. Like they've done like Mad Men, they did things that mostly
They just do toys
in celebration,
or even like memories and stuff like that.
totally.
Yeah.
They did like eras. They think they did malls or something like
Yeah.
that. Like they it's kind of all over. Just it's a nostalgia podcast.
Yeah.
And so the Patreon community voted for them to talk about the Phantom Menace, which I thought was really interesting because Phantom Menace doesn't, like, it's not a very good movie, right? So all their like, just objectively speaking, it's not very good. So it went in the face of what that show was about, which is celebrating like good memories around all these things. And the community had voted for them to talk about the Phantom Menace. So they watched it again, and somebody wrote into the show. They started it like this, and they said, typically the show is about celebration, and we know what you guys are going to be saying about the Phantom Menace. Can you try and keep it positive? And he's like, no, like, we will like, you asked for this. You guys asked for us to watch this movie and then to comment on it. Like, what do you want? And I thought that, like, that dude probably didn't appreciate that response from him. And there was probably some people who took it in a particularly negative way. And I was like, good on you. Like, I love that. Just sticking to your guns.
It's not about being an a-hole, but you just can't please everybody.
Right. Exactly.
And I've always been, here's a little inside story about running podcasts, running a PSVG team. That's why we don't ever do polls. We never send out ballots to patrons. We don't vote on things. I don't like groupthink. I never have. Dev knows this about me better than most. Dev has actually asked me to do some of this from time to time. And it's not that I don't appreciate feedback. I'm happy to have it.
Sure.
I just don't want that feedback to change how I want to do things.
Exactly.
And if how I want to do things runs it into the ground and everybody leaves, then that's on me, and I'll bear that cross. But if I like what we're doing and I believe in what we're doing, then I want to do that free of, well, and that's, we closed on the master feed this week, Sean.
Dude, I wanted to bring it up. How are you doing?
How different. And like, this is the same thing. For years, everybody hated the master feed. Please stop doing this. And I was like, no. Yeah. I believe in the master feed. We're going to do it. Like, this is what we're going to do. And I like that. So I'm that way. I think that's a big reason why I've always appreciated Colin. I really like his opinion on things, and I've always enjoyed his stuff. But yeah. No, I am that way. You got to just kind of believe in what you're doing. And I think Jeff has even said that, like, with his review, like, he's still 100% behind it. He's like, I think more people will come over here. Like in time, people will start to understand kind of what I'm saying. Was it
specifically about Returnal? Is that because I feel like I mean, it was the whole like cyberpunk thing as well.
Like with Jeff, he was saying that he was thinking, I think he said, I'm pretty sure that as this game gets patched and stuff, some of the things I'm saying are going to get addressed. He's like, and that's going to validate my review. And then these people are going to be it. Yeah, and then these people are going to be in a weird spot. And I was like, that's a hell of a talk about double down. That's a hell of a stance to take. He's like, not only will you realize that I'm more right, he's like, they'll prove it to you. And I was like, wow, I've never been that convicted, but that's conviction.
I mean, in the end, who has the energy to try and like swing with the way the wind of the crowd? Like, how are you able to appease that? Like you said,
this is why social media is exhausting.
Exactly. Well, you've had a nice break though. Like you kind of took some time away from everything. You
people follow me. Like I haven't been retweeting the news or anything. I've just been off.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good week to do it, but you kind of have a little. It's important. It's important to disconnect a little bit every once in a while.
You know this, or you may not. I mentioned to you before, but here in a few weeks, I'm going to be going on vacation again. So you'll need to find a guest to stand in or take the show off. But like when I go on vacation, I do the same thing. Yeah. I completely try to detach as much as possible.
I've been thinking about how you said I do vacation wrong ever since you since the moment you said it. Wrong. I've been thinking about that ever since, man.
I want to drive the Challenger down to Florida now, and my wife's like, we can't do that. I'm like,
how far would that be? How long would that take you guys?
It's like 7 hours.
Totally doable. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's totally doable. She doesn't want to have the kids in the back seat that long. Like when we have the minivan, she's like, let's just take the van.
Yeah.
I'm like, but it's not as fun.
No, not even a little bit. I mean, I don't know if you can go all those stretches of highway without gassing up.
Dude, it's 0-60 in like 5-6 seconds. Yeah. And it feels so slow when you're going 70 miles.
Right.
Like you just feel like you're barely touching. You're like, this car has so much more into it.
Wait, so you're like burning rubber on this thing? Like you're pushing it? You're
I've
giving
done a
her?
little bit. You gotta put the pedal down every once in a while just to show
Yeah.
the fam what it's capable of.
Like rail front house? Like do you have
Just
like burnt rubber in
appreciate
front?
exactly what it is we own now. Jack loves it. Jack's all about it.
Of course,
Melissa,
yeah.
not so much. She's a little scared.
Yeah. Nasty says 7 hours is his entire country. Driving from one coast to the other in 7 hours. That would be unreal, man. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad you're doing good, dude. I'm glad that you got your car.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm
I feel
good.
so much focused on me. I'm glad you're doing good. Are
I
you
didn't
doing
buy a
good? How are
car.
you doing?
I didn't buy. I work, man. I got a message from Snowbike Mike with he said we're going live in 15 minutes for the XCast. Can you make it?
Really?
And yeah, that was
no
basically
pre-planning or anything.
Nothing, dude.
Wow.
Which I think it was Marcus O'Neill who said it to me. He's like, less time to get nervous about it. And he was absolutely right.
Yeah, that's
because if I had
right.
a week, if I had a date and time, it would have ruined my whole day. Like I've been in a positive
give
way.
Give the chat what they want. Dev Singh, speak on it.
Yeah. I think it was weird because Mike and I met at E3 a couple of years ago, I think. And we just sort of just hovered around circles kind of ever since. And he was on the Xbox Drive once upon a time, and we've always kind of been in touch to try and do something more than that, and it just never really materialized. I was hoping to have him on We the Gamercast, and it was actually we were about to lock it down, and then that was earlier. I think it was just earlier this year, and they announced that Snowbike Mike has been hired by Kind of Funny. I'm like, all right, well, there goes that idea. He's gonna be full time with this whole thing, which is incredible. And then we've been very friendly to each other, but we don't actually interact a whole heck of a lot. We've been meaning to do something together for some time, and then I was just lucky to look at my phone at the right time because I was 15 minutes away from missing it, to be honest with you.
Wow.
And I was working. I actually still have to get something done before Monday morning because I wasn't able to get it done. I had to step away from work to go ahead and do it. And I promised Chelsea I was going to run out and do a couple of things to her. And so in all of this is what I'm going to ramble on to come to here, Donnie, is a shout out to the wives who help us and let us and encourage us to do this, because I was going to tell Mike, I actually did tell Mike, no, I can't. I would love to do it another time, but I've promised Chelsea that I'm going to do X, Y, or Z. And then I told Chelsea that that's what was happening. And she said, are you stupid? Go tell him no, you wouldn't do this. You can get this tomorrow. And so that's what I did. And luckily, and I messaged him and some time kind of went by. I'm like, I probably missed my chance.
Who doesn't love Chelsea?
She's the best, man.
She's the best.
Yeah. That's kind of game changing, because who knows if Mike ever would have come back to me to say come on the show again. That might've been my one and only chance.
I'm sure he doesn't have a lack of applicants.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, I think it was just, it was very lucky that I was able to do it. Luckily that I was on his list of people who he would call up for that sort of thing. Sure. And speaking of speaking your heart and staying to your truth, Paris is living that right now, man. I think he is so amazing. Love hearing from him, and I can listen to his voice all day long. But it didn't really sink in what actually happened until really today, when Kind of Funny tweets out, "We're happy to have at Sean Capri join us on our Xbox podcast." I'm like, that is so strange. I had Chelsea send me a picture of. We were in New York. We were there for Comic-Con. I think it was 2012 or 2013.
You went to the Kind of Funny Live thing, right?
I went to Kind of Funny Live 2 in whatever that was, 2014, 2015, something like that.
So this is a big. I mean, obviously, it's a
full circle thing.
It's a big thing, but yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, and Greg was on the trophy room, this week, and it's just really. You watch so many people, go through the journey, and for a lot of people, I watch the Iron Lords podcast, and those guys are having quite a moment right now, and you're you're always happy for other people, and you're well, that's just for them, those types of things don't happen to everybody, so it probably won't happen for me. And if to be on a Kind of Funny podcast is actually, I don't know if it will ever sink in, what that actually means. Because I like everybody, a lot of people, everybody was watching or listening to Beyond for years and years and years. And I remember trying to explain to family and friends that we were going to San Francisco to watch a podcast. That's weird, right? Even just thinking about it, that's a little bit strange, but yeah, Kind of Funny was and they were a big deal, especially in the early days when
They
I
still
was
are. It's not
starting
like
the
they're not.
podcast.
They're a
I mean,
giant
for me,
deal.
like I can't pretend that I'm like I watch all the kind of funny videos, and I'm not an active member in that community, but certainly to kickstart where we are and where I ended up now in terms of all the different shows and having the confidence to do it, and what it means to have like a community, that all comes from my days in Kind of Funny in the early days. But just to have Mike reach out to me and think like I could do it, and I don't think that I screwed it up too much. It was
I listened to it. It was great.
It was cool, man. It's I'm so used to podcasting with people that we know all the time, right? So I don't talk to Mike all the time. I've never spoken to Paris, and that's the thing that kind of it's a realization afterwards when you shut the show down, and like we probably won't stay in touch. Like we'll message each other, we'll be kind to one another, and all that kind of thing.
Is going to come on the Xbox Drive.
I hope so.
I'm sure Snowbike Mike will be back.
I don't know exactly how to articulate this, but I've said this to you in kind of a way. Like my goal with podcasting and content creation is, I don't even know if I want to call it a goal. I like this, that you and I, we ended up in a space because we're friends, and we're like, let's create content together. Like, because we know each other so well. Like, and I don't want to downplay being on the podcast, but like, this is so rewarding. Like being able to just have our standing date, and I'll always remember that with Bobby. That was it was very special to be asked to be on that show, but it's not the goal, right? Like that wasn't the end goal, and I don't feel like I've done anything to like work towards that. I really enjoy just cultivating the community, to having friends, to having people who support each other when we need to be supported. That's the ongoing joy, and then you kind of get like these special moments when you get to be on Kind of Funny, which is unreal.
It's a validation.
The standing date of a Sunday on a Saturday. Exactly.
It's a validation, right?
A little bit, yeah.
You have to feel self gratification. You're validated. You know, like I understand the feeling. Like when I've had the feeling a few times. Like when we had Pear on Nintendo Shack, that felt validating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it felt like, I don't want to say like Nintendo Shack had arrived, but like it was good. It was good enough that Pear decided he wanted to come on it.
You know what? I want to like fully explore this a little bit if I can, because I think like more than just like being on a Discord call with Mike and Paris, what is probably the most gratifying is people being excited for me about it. Yeah, like it's kind of meta actually, but like seeing people share it today and congratulating me and being excited for me, that's the coolest part about it all. To be honest with you, it's not being on the show. That
wave is intoxicating.
Yeah,
when we had Colin on, that wave that day was a crazy ride. I definitely get that. Yeah, people are excited for you because they see the work that you put in, and specifically you. Yeah, not like you put in so much time, not just with your podcast, but all of your podcasts. You guest on so many other podcasts. Your streaming, it's like a whole endeavor on its own. Like if all you were doing was streaming, that's its own thing.
I think about that a lot.
You deserve it.
Yeah, only streaming would be, or only doing the podcast would be maybe nice, but. Donnie, we got to get you playing multiplayer games.
I can't be on that long as you can. Like I don't have that.
I do like 2 hours. And
that switch is so hard for me. Like if I do that and I turn it off, like I'm like, I'm not like tired, but like drained. I'm almost like a vegetable. I just kind of sit there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I can't do it.
I think it just starts there.
No, it's different type of person, man. Like you were built for it, and I am not.
I don't know about that. Because I feel like if you go back long enough, and I'm probably not even that long ago, it's just like anything, like any the podcast thing. You probably say like, I would say you're built for it now. And you're actually podcasting, you were built for, but some people develop. Like I think when I wasn't built for podcasting, but I feel very confident in it now.
My best friend in high school listened to one of our first episodes. We're back in episode 20 or something. And the thing that he told me then, he's in a band. Like he's in a couple bands actually. He plays around town and stuff. And for a while, he used to always tell me I needed to find my thing. Yeah. And when I started this, he was like, "I think you found your thing."
Yeah, man.
He was like, "This is very, very you." And at the time when podcasting was taking off, I always tell the story. I used to always like sit in my GameStop and just talk shop with folks. Yeah. It's very comforting. I'm very comfortable just talking shop with people. Yep. About anything. It didn't even have to be about video games, but but like things that I like. Like I would talk about being, I can talk about getting drunk and running through the street naked, or I can talk about video games. We can talk about movies, but I'm very much like I enjoy this. The comfort zone for me is sit and talk shop with people.
Talk and shop is a good way to put it. I used to think that only referred to like something in particular. Like when I was working at Canadian Best Buy, we would talk shop. We'd talk like TVs and models.
Oh yeah,
and blah, blah, blah.
No, that's anything.
But it's everything.
It's
everything. Yeah, and that's and you're absolutely right. And I enjoy that too. And maybe that's the common link.
I can do golf. I can do sports. Like anything. Yeah, it's really anything that you're interested in.
Yeah.
But yeah, talk and shop. Like I've always felt very comfortable with that with people, even strangers. My life, it's so funny because I don't really talk. Like if I'm around the house, I'm very quiet and stuff. We'll go out and I'll totally just strike up a conversation with a complete stranger about anything.
That's what my dad does. Yeah.
But yeah, so that always felt comfortable to me. I think that's why I've done it as long as I have. Is because
that's dev too. That's why you guys. That's game tech.
I love podcasting with Devin.
Yeah,
like
man.
It does really get no better than that. When me and Dev could do this forever. We could do this every day.
The sports thing is the thing you guys got to jump on.
I don't remember if it was a DLC or whatever you're doing.
You guys chat about basketball, I think, on a DLC, and that was excellent.
I don't think anybody would even know that I'm into basketball as much as I am.
Yeah. And Jay says my dad used to do the same thing. Talk to anybody. My dad's the same. He was interested in getting like a fifth wheeler. Or fifth wheel. I'm so
what is that?
Such a dork. It's like a trailer. It's like something that you pull behind you. It's like a
trailer,
like a small motorhome. I'm trying to think. I feel like I'm speaking like a different language to you.
Hang on.
So
you said fifth wheeler, and I thought it was like I was like, is that like a three wheeler with five? What the hell is a fifth wheeler?
Because the truck already has four
wheeler.
Nobody in the chat is helping me either. I got at least a couple Canadians in here.
That's all it is.
But it doesn't drive itself. You pull it.
That ever.
Canadians are strange, right?
What the hell?
This was the bathroom thing that Luke did to me at E3. I said washroom or bathroom or whatever. He's like, what are you talking about? Sure. So an RV. Anyways, what I'm trying to tell you is that he just went around talking to neighbors he'd never met before about their RV.
Nice.
And you would talk shop about that. That was it. I don't know why that was super embarrassing.
So when I was in the delership buying the
milk
car,
in bags. I've never had bagged milk.
We've talked about that. I've talked about that. And I think on the DLC we had
I think Haley had bagged milk
in middle school. My school tried to switch from cartons to bags, and like none of us kids are having it. We're like, what? No, it's like drinking a boob implant. We're like, what the hell is this? They were literally like little squishy bags.
Yeah, no, there's.
Oh, it's so gross. It was so gross.
Macro says an RV has a motor. That's what I would say too. An RV is something that you would drive on its own.
I've never heard it called a fifth wheeler.
I actually don't even know if I'm right.
Maybe it's a Yankee thing just a fifth wheel. I don't know. Fifth wheel. But like I'm around, like my father-in-law has one.
Yeah, like
my uncles had a few. Like I've been around people that have them, and they have never called it that.
Stevens in the chat knows what I was talking about. So there's. Thank you.
That's two.
Stevens. Yeah, I got a couple.
When I was in the dealership when I was buying my car, right? They walk you from like the manager's office to like the desk to pay, and they got this poor girl sitting in this desk in the middle of the whole damn place. Yeah. And like you just walk up there, and she doesn't speak to me. They didn't introduce me to her. She's just sitting there, like just typing, looking straight ahead. I'm just right in front of her, looking straight at her, like about to slide my card in this machine. I looked at her. I was like, this is an awkward as hell desk, isn't it? Like you're like right here in the middle. It's like you don't have a name tag or anything. I was like, she's like, and she looked at me, she's like, it really is. I was like, why do you guys do this to her? I was like, can you move this machine like to a desk or something? Like, this is strange. I was like, do strangers just stand here all day and nobody talks to you? And like, we did a whole 10-minute bit on it.
Hobeck in the chat, a fifth wheel refers to the connection to the truck. It hooks into the bed rather than being pulled behind the bumper. Interesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have seen those trucks. Yeah, I do know. Yeah, it goes into the bed, right?
Wait, no. This person is talking about like the thing that kind of like sits on it, like and it kind of like has the there's a bed that goes over the roof of the truck. Yeah, so that's different than like the pull by the trailer, like, on the hitch and ball. Just a trailer, yeah.
Yeah,
maybe like I said, like I might be mixing up my terms.
Yeah, when you said
fifth wheel and
you said
trailer,
fifth wheeler and then you said trailer, Now, I've seen those trucks. I know the
I don't know.
gooseneck. I have seen those trailers. The one that my uncle has, he uses to take his son's race car. His son does our karting circuit, so that's how they pull the race cars. So I've seen those trailers. He's a mechanic by trade. It's all his life is grease. He never called it a fifth wheeler.
His whole life is grease.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not a thing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying around here, apparently, it's not a thing. This is the first I've ever heard. Canada,
Gooseneck
man,
is
just
a
keeps
single
on
ball
giving.
in the
Between
center.
you and Haley,
I know, and you get
There's-
different types of Canada.
there's too much. There's too much Canada on the PSXP podcast. There's way
did
too
you-
much Canada. I tell them every week. I'm like, guys, stop talking about Canada. Like,
Well, you can. There's
it's a
two ways you can go about
PlayStation
this.
show.
You could dilute us a little bit by bringing on more Americans, or there's the other way.
We need to put like the PSXP logo like on front of like a Canadian flag, and that'll be the new logo for the podcast.
That'd be all right. That'd be all right.
Would it?
Canadian.
That would be
We got
okay.
nothing else. We got nothing else to do, man. It's too cold here to do anything else. We
Mm.
podcast. We play video games and we podcast. It's like it's disproportionate.
Do you still
the
have
number
snow?
of us. No, it was raining today.
Okay.
So we're all right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're into maybe we're actually into some snow. It's actually not a bad question. We'll get snow in August, dude. We got
It's like
polar bears
86
walking around over
degrees.
here.
It was hot.
That's too much.
I had
That's
to
too
crank
much.
in the AC and stuff.
Holy crap. Well, I think we had a sweet hang today, man. How
Yeah,
you
it was a
feeling?
fun hang.
You good? Yeah. Yeah. We want to do it again next week?
I hope so. Sunday though. Saturday's
Sunday.
spoken for.
Do you have Mother's Day plans? Do you guys do you do anything?
No, well, we went out last night and we went out to dinner and we drove around with the car and did the stuff with the car. And then next week, grandma's in town, but next week
Yep.
we're taking grandma to the boat. So next week, Saturday, I gotta drive up
You're
to.
so outdoorsy. Look at you.
I'm not. No, I'm not.
Look
this
at
is
this.
This is not my boat. This is my father-in-law's boat.
Well,
He's
still, you're
outdoorsy.
gonna be on the boat. You're gonna.
I don't even. I hate going on the boats. But he wants to take his boat out and his mom, so we're gonna take Melissa, her mom, all of them up to the lake next
You're gonna have
Saturday.
a great time. That sounds nice.
I don't think I'm gonna go on the boat. I think I'm gonna stay.
You don't have anything to play.
I'll take my Switch.
Yeah.
Play
Yeah.
more Pokemon Snap.
I'm telling you, man, the game of the year that I am predicting is this Super Animal. What the hell is it called? Super Animal Royale. Holy crap! This is
It's like a twin stick shooter battle royale.
Yeah, man, it's just all
Is
these
that what
cute
it is?
animals. Yeah, just with cute animals and ridiculous weapons. Stevie's in
I'll
the
give that a
chat, just
try.
listening to me on XCast. That's cool, man. Thank you so much.
Nice.
I really appreciate it. Look at that.
Nice.
Yeah, very cool. Happy people enjoyed it. That'll be my game of the year, man. That's where I'm at. It'll be between that and Outriders.
Mario
That's
Golf.
all I need. That's all. Oh, dude. Oh, and you booked off time for E3 too.
It took a couple days, so we can stream.
Yeah. Is
You
there
should
like?
come stream with us. Oh, I'm
think
sure
I-
you're gonna
I-
stream
I
your
think
own.
I will.
aren't you?
I don't know. I don't have to.
You and Ryan gonna stream? You
I
did
don't know.
last year.
Wasn't
just, like,
there
jogged my
wasn't even
memory,
an
I think.
E3 last year.
Oh,
We didn't
what
even do
the hell am
anything
I
last year.
remembering?
I don't know.
Well, if you want to come hang out, we'll
I'm
do
good
the
to do
Devolver
whatever.
thing with Dev and I.
Oh, that actually is perfect. Yes. Yeah, I just want to be like whatever's fun.
Dev and I always have to do the Devolver together. That is,
I feel like a couple of years ago there was a bunch of like nastiness that went around of like who's going to stream who and like where are people going to be? Are we going to be on this channel
Really?
or that channel? Like
I
whatever.
don't remember that at all.
I don't know. There's
Is that a
maybe
thing?
what- I think so. Yeah. Yeah,
Oof.
I think so. Like I don't care. I'll just avoid it altogether.
I'll come stream with you guys.
That's what I mean. Like that's where I'm at. Like this is where no stream ends up happening. Ryan Turford, can I come hang out with you?
Sean
Yeah,
did
dude.
do Devolver with us last year because they released that like ridiculous demo that
Oh,
was
it was
super fun.
perfect. Yeah, yeah.
And that's where the Eat the Hype comes from. That
Mhm.
whole monologue, like whoever wrote that for them, that's who
Oh my
WWE needs
God.
to hire.
No, they
that
eat the
was-
hype. That's where it comes from.
Just pure gold. I
Mhm.
love that
Oh,
so
that's
much.
right. Oh man, I love
She
it.
just went on and on and on about like internet gaming culture on social media, man.
It's perfect. Yeah.
Oh, it was so
Absolute-
perfect.
like,
Just
every
putting
syllable was
everybody in
perfect.
their place, and they
Mhm.
kept going around highlighting games that weren't even.
These games aren't even coming out. We just want to announce them.
Doesn't
Perfect.
matter if they come out if they're good. Just that we announce something.
Dude, how many times have you watched that to memorize it like that?
Man,
That should
it's
be a-
so
That should be
so
a
damn
t-shirt.
good.
You should make a
Oh,
t-shirt out
I
of
love
that.
Devolver. I love Devolver so much.
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
like to see the wrestling ring come back.
I need the like the full schedule. I don't like maybe I'm misinformed.
I don't
and
think it's happened yet.
right. Like I don't know if I need to take the Thursday or Friday off or if everything's happening over the weekend.
I took
or-
Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, like that's just it. Like I have no
Because
idea.
I think it's
Probably
Friday,
right.
Saturday, Sunday, and then I imagine that Nintendo's Direct will be Monday, Tuesday.
Let's just bring it back. Let's bring the magic back. Christmas is happening.
I hope so, Sean. I really hope so. You know,
I think
dude,
I
I
think it
love
is.
E3
Same here.
so much. Always have. Like for like 3 years, right? The hot take, the accepted norm was E3 needs to die.
Yep.
Talk about a genuine opinion from day one. It's like absolutely not.
Do you want to do, because you'll do, I'm sure you'll do like predictions on all your shows or whatever.
I feel like I've already done them. I feel like I've already done mine.
That's true. You know, that's funny that you say that, because like and if any of us do a podcast, they get like questions, you know, from people like, what do you think is going to happen about this, or like blah, blah, blah. Like we've probably formulated some predictions. Ryan and I did at the beginning of the year, like our predictions for the full 2021.
Nice.
So there's that. I don't even remember what I said about him. I feel like one I got right already.
That's the fun part.
You just go back and you're sure about it.
It was way off.
I was talking to Kato about it on the Nintendo Drive, where I'm just like, and she kind of called it out, not even realizing what she was doing. She's like, we should do 2 sets of predictions, one that we think are actually going to happen in Nintendo, and then the ones that we actually want to have happen. And I thought of you when she said this, because I'm like, you're right, because all people do when they talk E3 predictions are just run down a list of games that they hope are going to come out. Like they have no inside knowledge. There's no
the thing that I don't like about it is the I was right part of it. Like if you hit on one, you're like, hey, sure, I was right. Nailed it. Yeah. I was right. Everybody. I like doing that. And I don't. So that's why when we try to talk about it, I try to keep it more like, here's what we're hearing. Sure. Here's what I think's possible given the timeline, the last one, you know, like.
So you're saying like, because like there's no way that anybody would know one way or another. The whole claiming I was right is like baseless anyways. Cause like what was your prediction based on, other than just like pulling it out of the sky? Yeah. My kind of crux of it is, if you are unlimited in the number of predictions that you're throwing out there, and then you say like nailed it, like, no, you didn't. You just listed 40 things.
You got lucky.
That could happen. You know, you gotta, like, if you have like 3 predictions, and one of those
we did our Christmas episode this year, and on the Christmas episode, I think we talked about what we were looking forward to this year, and we probably guessed or did some predictions. And on that thing, I was like, it should be Mario Golf. Like this should be the time. And when it was announced in the Direct, people were all like, "You nailed it!" I was like, "I didn't nail anything. I looked at the landscape of Camelot's releases, and I was like, this should be near soon.
I guess.
Like, that's all that really was.
But you chose to, like, that's where I think like this, like if you have a scarcity on the number of predictions you can make, then I think that it's valuable, because like you could look at a whole bunch of different things that could happen, but you're going, okay, these are the ones that I am choosing as my prediction. Anyways, the whole point of bringing up the whole prediction thing was I assume that you either weren't going to do them on your other shows, or you it wouldn't be a space for it to happen here. But I'd love to like look back on E3s. Like what are some great moments in E3? I think would be kind of fun.
Those
as we lead up to.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Maybe next week. Maybe next week.
Ooh, should wait closer to June. No, I'm out the first week of June.
Whatever.
So the last week of May. Yeah, we should keep it closer sooner.
We'll add it to the list.
So when people are hearing about it, that's actually that's another reason why I don't like the prediction episode.
Yeah,
like that's the standard kind of funny trend, right? Like
you got to do it.
This is the prediction episode.
You got to do it.
The thing that I don't like about it is that like 2 or 3 weeks before E3 or Gamescom or the Game Awards or whatever, every podcast is the prediction episode. It's too much.
Well, and especially if you're one who listens to a lot of podcasts and you just see them like pile up on each other. I will say, I've actually had people ask me, "We're looking forward to your E3 predictions episodes."
Nice.
Like back in the day, we would do them on We the Gamercast. I would just bring on, like, because We the Gamercast is a whole like one-on-one sweet hangs with strangers on the internet. And when E3 happens, it was totally different. It morphed into this, like 2 other people would join me and we would talk about Nintendo for an hour and a half, and then another episode would come.
I remember those. Sort of yeah.
So I think people are wanting for that to come back, but I totally get it. Like it's a pretty standard, not a very unique kind of take on
content,
what happens at that moment. Yeah. But it's also like, it's just part of the, so it's like Christmas happens every year. You put up the Christmas tree, it's standard. You're seeing everybody else like, oh, that guy's got Christmas lights, and so does that guy. He's got Christmas lights as well.
Yeah, but they're all doing different.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like,
you're saying that they're
that's the thing. It's like, I listen to a lot of podcasts,
Mm,
So like when everybody's doing the prediction shows, they can get real. I don't want to say samey because I'm not accusing
sure.
everybody of saying the same thing, but there's only so many things you can say.
Right. Yeah.
Like we know Fable's not next year. Nobody's gonna be like, and we're gonna see Fable and it's out now. Like that's not a
Yeah.
prediction that's gonna happen.
And the out now thing too is kind of
Right.
like, yeah.
So like I just find myself, I think in that season swiping more, because it's like, yeah, if I've listened to Sean do it and I've done it, and it's
I
like,
wanna
how many
explore this
more
with you. You're not
Xbox
making-
predictions can we have?
What you're saying is not incorrect. And I don't know if this is a conversation for today or for another day. Like, how do you curb that? Because we both just said how excited we are for E3, and I guess for you, it's just as simple as like, just go watch E3. And that's you being in it. Like, is there other ways to like celebrate the season? I'm drawing the Christmas comparison a lot because like there's a lot of stuff that happens in and around Christmas. There's people have traditions and things like that that help them experience the season, or Halloween for you, like in a big way. Right, like you experience Halloween in more than just like going trick or treating. Like it's other things that you do, and I don't know exactly. Yeah, Sean likes the season, Donnie likes the event, says Jace for E3.
And it's like one of those things because a lot of people, for them, E3 is about surprise. Like their value is on being surprised, and I have zero value on it being surprised. I feel like I follow way too much news and rumors that if it's not a surprise, I'm bummed out about it. Like I don't need that to be the thing.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a surprise. It's like it's getting what you want or getting something that will bring you
I just
some
like seeing
joy.
It. Honestly, it's just seeing it. I think the thing that I always bring up is, like a game will leak out ahead of time. Yeah. And then there's always the podcast that's like, it's a real shame that this leaked ahead of time. It's like, I never say that because I'm like, seeing
You're on the other end of the spectrum on spoilers altogether, though.
Well, I mean, but it's just like seeing it is still so much better than Jeff Grubb tweeting about it. Like how does that rob your appreciation of having like it doesn't? And I feel like that surprise thing, it's just, I understand it. It's nostalgic because we used to have it a lot more. Yeah. But like in the modern internet age, it's so hard to like.
Oh, I disagree.
Put your value on that.
I disagree.
And it's happy. It's awesome when you are surprised. Like it's, I've been pleasantly surprised. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not. I don't look at E3 going, can't wait to see what I don't know. Like it seems like a lot of people are like, show me something I've never seen before. And it's like, I feel like all right. So like, when people have asked us in recent weeks what we're expecting from Xbox or Nintendo at E3, I feel like I have a very good idea of what to expect from both of them. Maybe there'll be a thing or two in there that I'm like, not expecting that will be a surprise. But like overall, I think I have a really good idea of what I'm expecting from them. Yeah. And I'm just as excited to see that as I'm not. Like if it was the other way. Like Forza. Jeff broke the Forza thing on Empire. And I'm still very excited to see Forza. Like that's not gonna, that doesn't ruin it for me at all.
There's still the unconfirmed part of it, right? There's still, and there's a scale to that as well.
There's a whole different thing when you see the car, drift around a corner and the sunlight gleam off the paint. That's totally different thing.
It's a weird gratification in that way of like, he called it, like he nailed it. Like I'd heard rumblings of this and there it is. That's great. It's different than Jeff Grubb was right.
I'll never get any credit for saying that 2 months earlier.
But the other thing that comes to mind is the Mario Rabbids thing. Like that's another side of when things leak and people made up their minds that was dumb.
Yeah,
like
no,
like
I was that person.
I'm sure everybody was.
Me and Kevin were like, "This is awful.
What are they thinking?" Yeah,
and we did. I remember that vividly because when it leaked in that PowerPoint.
Jeez, I'm still that person.
Like it leaked in that PowerPoint, and me and Kevin, having both played Rabbids games, we were like, "What the hell? Like this doesn't work." But then subsequently, when details leaked of what it was, actually we like reverse course. Then we were like smarter for the room people. We were like, actually, this might make sense.
So I wish that they would do what, like, when I wish they'd just like distract us a little bit. Like throw us some bait to chew on and go like divert our attention over here, put up something fake or something that's not fully selling something. If you want to have something leaked, then undersell it and then kind of come over the top afterwards. Like have a nice presentation with it.
I got you.
And it kind of shows you like, no, you actually want this. Because I think that creates a bit of meat for people to bite into rather than just like game announcements happening. It's that it's when people's minds it's risky, but when people's minds are changed like that, it becomes much more memorable rather than this game was announced like 40 other games. It was, remember Mario and Rabbids? We thought this game was going to be shit, and it was really, really good. And they had a great moment. They had like with Miyamoto and the guy meeting in the crowd, of course. So I like all things. It's not like I can't boil E3 down into one thing. Like there's so much to it that
I mean, it's entertainment. We are getting the trailers, but
I think there's like a pride
you're right.
thing.
There's more than trailers.
I think Jeff Keighley taps into this a little bit with the Game Awards, which is like there's a production value that goes like, this is a big deal. Let's like it is that celebration.
And I want to see people that get excited about trailers.
Well, and that's why I like that. That's why I like how Xbox does their presentations versus kind of what Nintendo has ended up doing, and then what the hell Sony tried to do. Like,
wait a minute. Let's explore this a bit.
They're like the theater
what
presence
Xbox has done
at E3. I think the last couple I don't like everything else that they do.
Okay.
I mean, like the Inside Xbox.
I'm glad I clarified.
Terrible. E3 presentations, like they got the Microsoft Theater, they got the big ass logo on there, and I like their
stage
style.
Is always really, really fun.
The stage looks really good. They don't have a guy playing on a flute. You know, it makes
but
you
see, there's people that like that too.
Nobody likes flute guy.
The razzmatazz and the, all the people hanging from the ceiling and stuff. World premiere.
No, I like just give me a good hype reel, really. Like I want like a blockbuster moment is kind of what happens with E3. So I'm looking forward to that. Like more like because that gives me chills. Like I want
E3 of dreams.
I get excited about E3 more than just like the reveals.
I have I don't know, I'm a little petty because like that PlayStation year that they had the E3 of dreams. They're like
remember wasn't Shenmue 3 one of those?
I hated that year and like was just so ostracized around PSVG. I was like, this sucks. Like I hated the whole lineup. I was like, they just announced a Kickstarter? What the hell is happening?
Yeah. They
but
really
everybody lost their freaking minds. So I mean, it goes both ways. I think
wasn't it was it Shadow of the Colossus? Was that the other one?
I don't
Final
remember.
Fantasy VII? Yeah.
The Last Guardian, maybe.
Last Guardian. That was it. Yeah, same developers.
Yeah. So I mean, ultimately what I say is for everybody, as always is the case, there's a lot of different things that will excite people.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm going to be excited for No More Heroes. There's probably a lot of people looking at the damn screen.
I'm coming at the end of this conversation wondering that you are. Do you actually like E3? This is what
have you never seen our stream? I love E3.
I know, of course you do.
I watch all of it.
Of course you do. Of course.
Yeah, I love E3 and I love making fun of E3 too. Like there's a lot to it. Like there's good and the bad, and I just like all of it. So, like I said,
that's a fair statement.
I don't want to do a whole other podcast. We can talk about this on our E3 show. We can talk about it there. I love all of E3. The good, the bad, the cringe, when it fails. Yes. I think it's just encapsulates gaming. Mm-hmm. And it feels like we're kind of, celebration is right, but I don't feel like I'm celebrating gaming during E3. I just feel like we're in it together.
Yeah.
It feels like that Star Wars moment when the stupid scrolling text hits the screen and everybody in the theater roars. Yes. They've got their lightsabers and stuff. It's fandom. And what you're doing is you're enjoying fandom together, and it's communal, and in a way that it's not just like, the normal standard daily affair.
You give me the chills again. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. And that is why I love E3. It's regardless of what they show. Yeah. And I think that's the thing that I feel like, I don't want to say separates me, but it's a thing that I feel is a little different. Is I never I need to be wowed. Like,
sure,
Nintendo, blow my mind with a video game.
Impress me.
Exactly.
Sit back in your chair.
I'm never there, but I'm also like the weird dude who watched Treehouse for 8 hours a day.
That is weird. That is weird.
But I like that. Because it feels like E3 is the only time we get that, and I don't feel that at Game Awards.
Well, you probably come out of it in better shape than most people do. Because a lot of people, I think, come out of it like very bitter, like maybe a little crispy after E3 happens, like because they've been disappointed because they built it up in a certain way. So you're maybe heading into it a bit more. I do
feel like several years in a row, I'm defending E3 shows more than Yeah, I feel like that happens a lot.
So here you are ahead of E3, going maybe downplaying it a little bit because I'm thinking like, you like E3, but you come out of E3, you're right, you do that.
Like, I do that, yeah.
Like, if I'm remembering a lot of times, do you guys even like E3?
Yeah, there's been very few E3 shows that I thought were awful.
Agreed.
And the Ubisoft one, where they showed us the same games and it may have been at UB4. They showed us like a TV show that they were making
Mm-hmm,
on Apple or something. I was like, guys, this is awful.
Yeah.
And then the Mario Tennis one, the direct where
Yeah.
they did Mario Tennis, like on Wii U, Mario Super, whatever. I was like, this is terrible. Like, this is just downright really, really bad.
Yep.
But most of the time, I really like it, and I feel like I do defend it. I think
Same.
in all of our podcast recaps, like, I'm typically defending a lot of these companies. I'm like,
I feel like I've been defending
Fallout
it all these
76
years.
looks kind of good. It's got some stuff, like, it's not that bad. Why is everybody so damn upset?
I pre-ordered it for Chelsea. But they're like the most expensive package you could buy for Fallout 76.
Yeah.
So that's a whole
there's a lot of that. And maybe I'm just not, I don't go into it like I need 10 amazing video games that I can't wait to buy. Like,
Well, there's E3. We'll talk about the best ones maybe next couple
that'll be fun. I want to talk about Milo.
Ooh, dude. Okay. Yeah. We'll have a nice little chit chat about that. All right, man. Well, I don't want to keep you from your car too long.
I got to get back out on the
Get back to the car. You got to gas up. You got to get those
I do have to
gallons.
gas.
You got to get those
gas.
gallons in there. Yeah. Cool, man. Well, I'm glad people were here to hang out with us here at twitch.tv/PSVG. We usually record this on Sundays at 1 p.m. I'm just kind of like launching into a weird exit of the show other than just saying goodbye. But I guess we'll just say goodbye, Donnie.
Catch you next week, Sean.